So we start from afresh from now.
Okay. So sorry for the repeat of the introduction, but first of all, thank you everybody for joining us today on this webinar and taking the time out of your business. Basically what we want to cover in today's 1 hour is how you guys could actually leverage and monetize Facebook. There's different verticals and industries of people and organization here, so we want to make sure that everyone is at least able to take away something and learn something and apply it to their business. So if you look at the agenda for today, what we want to cover is, first of all, determining, is Facebook even right for your business? How do you determine that? Is it worth even investing into? A lot of times we get asked that because companies are like, you know what, we heard of Facebook, we heard of sites like Twitter and YouTube and all these other social sites. We heard great stories how other people are leveraging it, but we're still not sure of how to leverage it or if it's going to work for me. And some businesses even fear the fact that they don't want to invest in a social network like Facebook. They're more comfortable spending their money on something that they're used to doing, like direct mail or SEO or some of the other traditional marketing means. So we will show you in this webinar on how you could find it applicable to your business. We'll also be going through some of the features and benefits that Facebook allows business owners, such as building Facebook pages, setting up Facebook events, how you can leverage Facebook video. For those people that have joined us on our previous end client webinar, we did touch up on Facebook advertising, so we will revisit that section today as well and show some specific strategies on how to monetize and leverage that. And finally, at the end, we'll put all the stuff together and show you how you could actually use Facebook as part of your marketing mix and why it's actually essential that you do so. So having that said, let's just start the presentation. And just going over some very, some very high-level ways of how today we could start driving targeted traffic towards our websites. There's your traditional paid search marketing. This is basically where you're paying search engines such as Google or Yahoo to have your ad displayed when somebody keys in a keyword phrase of your product or your service. So that's pay-per-click for you. Then we have search engine optimization, which is really the same thing, but instead of paying Google or Yahoo, your ad copy appears organically on the left-hand side, and you're not paying for every single time somebody clicks on your ad. And then, of course, there's email marketing, and there's your traditional marketing, and all these different ways we have been using over the years to push back targeted traffic back to our websites in efforts to make conversions. And those conversions, depending on what you do, if you're e-commerce, you want to make sure that people are adding products to your shopping cart and checking out. If you're an informational website, you want people to be reading your content or downloading your white paper or subscribing to your newsletter, or your goal might be to collect leads and names and emails or somebody to pick up the phone and call you. But whatever your goal of your website may be, these are sort of your traditional marketing ways of how you could actually leverage the online business system to gain new customers and to keep your current existing clients. And now social media just sort of came out by storm over the last 2 years, and we've been hearing a lot about it, and we've been training a lot about it. So this particular webinar is really going to primarily be focused on Facebook and how Facebook could actually be leveraged for organizations today. So if we look at some statistics, and I apologize, I just jumped ahead a slide, how are companies actually using social media today? I mean, still, majority of businesses, they're using social media to influence their brand. It's not just to maintain that positive brand, but it's also to combat any negative press that's being said about them. And we're going to get into that in a moment. But what I want to draw your attention towards is this section over here, where out of the survey of small and medium-sized business, primarily in the United States, 38% of them are actually using social media to improve their search engine rankings. So when I asked the original question, do you think Facebook is applicable to your business and there's a way for you to monetize it, you have to ask yourself, is being on page 1 of Google for your product or your service or your brand important for you? And if the answer is yes, then the next question becomes, well, is there a way we could leverage a site like Facebook to help fulfill us those goals? So I'll share some specific examples of how that could be accomplished as well. So why isn't everyone really jumping on this whole social media bandwagon if we've been hearing all this great news about it and it's everywhere? Well, I mean, the number one reason why organizations don't is because of lack of knowledge. So again, I'd like to say thank you for everybody for joining us today, because you guys are really taking the first steps to educating yourself and your staff members and your colleagues out there to really understand on how you could actually use Facebook to the benefit of your business. Now, before we get into the specifics of Facebook, you have to understand that there's other social media sites out there as well. There's LinkedIn, there's MySpace, and depending on where you're in the world, some people use Bebo, some people use Orkut. There's all these, or High Five is quite popular if you're in Latin America and so forth. So the first thing you need to do is determine, well, where is your target audience? Where is your current customers hanging out? If they're all on something called LinkedIn, why would you promote yourself on Facebook or MySpace or something, on a channel where your prospects and your customers are not on? So just to kind of break down and differentiate the three social networks that I have on the screen over here, you can look at LinkedIn being sort of more that business-to-business model. It's more of the professional industry. So if you're a target audience and you're trying to target people that are employees in a specific industry, or they might be a director or a VP or a president, if it's more in terms of those lines, that's where LinkedIn is quite beneficial for you. MySpace, on the other hand, that's, especially if you're in the music or entertainment industry, that's where MySpace really shines and could help leverage your campaign there. And Facebook is really sort of slapped out in the middle. It's a little bit of the B2B model and a little bit of the B2C model. So it could be applied both ways. So that's a very high-level way of how you could determine which social network it could be right for your specific organization. So going back to the main question before we begin is, is Facebook right for my business? And we've talked about target audiences. Most people, and if you read the white paper, I talked about it there, but most people are under the consumption still that, Facebook is meant for teenagers, it's just a bunch of college kids, and they just go there to post pictures, and their real target audience is not there. But, I mean, if you start looking at some of these numbers, and this is as of January 4th, 2009 and January 4th of this year, you can see the amount of growth of all the different demographics of males, females, and age groups. I mean, last year, the biggest age group was between the 18 to 24 mark. And this year, the biggest age group is actually between 35 to 54. So that actually has taken over now as being the largest sector. The fastest growing area is actually, females that are 55 years and older. That seems to be the fastest growing demographics. And interesting enough, if you look at Facebook's overall audience in the United States, majority of them, 46%, well, not majority, sorry, 46% of them are at least 26 years of age and older. So these are important statistics to know because, like I said, if you're looking at a target audience and they fit a specific demographics or age group, you need to understand, well, is there a potential or is there room for you to grow in Facebook, and is your audience there? And I think these numbers speak a lot and get away a lot of those misconceptions about who is actually on Facebook and who is actually using it. And if you look at closely some more of these numbers, and again, these are all available on the white paper as well. There's 400 number of current active Facebook users, 6 billion number of minutes spent on Facebook every single day. The key thing, I mean, take a look at this, 10 million number of users who become fans of pages every single day. And what that means is, when we talked a little bit about what we're going to get into, is building your Facebook business page. You got about 10,000 people every single day that are joining these company pages, becoming fans. And what fans essentially mean is they're sort of like subscribing or opting into your website or your page, if you may. So every single time that you make an update, you got a promotion, there's a different event going on, or there's something new that's happening in your industry, they want to be the first ones to know about it because they're subscribing to your personal fan page on Facebook. So that's the real opportunity there if you look at the people that are actually using it and what they're doing with it.